You're listening to I Love It When, and I'm your host, Mo. I'm a speaker, coach, and connector. You're in the right place if you're looking for some inspiration and you're ready to truly embrace who you are. My intention with this podcast is to help you see that you are so much more powerful than you realize. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of I Love It When. I'm your host, Mo. And today I'm really excited to introduce you all to Kiana and Njie from Urban Yogis in downtown Everett, Washington. So I reached out to Kiana almost about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, to ask if I could co-host a class with Seth Dietland, the angel communicator, in her space in downtown Everett. And of course, Kiana said yes. And during the class, Seth led us through a meditation towards the end. And I very distinctly connected with Kiana during that meditation and felt like there was a presence that had a message for her, and that overall we were supposed to meet for coffee and connect more outside of that class. And so we didn't end up connecting until like the last month here in December 2023, but I'm so glad that we did. It's been amazing to watch her grow the studio, and I love the mission and the vision behind Urban Yogis, and I'm excited for you all to have the chance to get to know her more through this podcast. So here's the 411 on Kiana. I started Urban Yogis to continue growing a community of like-minded humans, to have a space to gather, to deepen their practice, have meaningful conversations, and make lifelong, lasting friendships. Creating space where you can unplug and reclaim your connection from within. As a passionate yoga instructor, it fuels my soul, guiding students through the transformative practices of yoga. With a specialization in restorative yoga, I focus on creating a nurturing space that allows individuals to find solace, strength, and release within themselves. My classes are more than physical movements. They're an invitation for empowerment, encouraging students to delve deeper into their practice, discover their inner strength, and stand in their power on and off the mat. Through blends of poses, breathwork, and mindfulness, I aim to help people sink into the profound depths of their own practice, fostering a journey of self-discovery and well-being. I love to teach a fiery hatha, but I live to bring you Zen. So in this episode today with Kiana, we talk about what brought her to yoga in the first place and why she chose to start a studio in downtown Everett, Washington. We also talk a little bit about how yoga helped her to hear and connect with her intuition more deeply, and then her top 2 to 3 tips for someone who is just learning how to connect with their intuition. And then lastly, but not least, we talk about the next location for an Urban Yogis retreat coming up, which I'm super excited about. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and please reach out to Kiana or myself. And if you have any questions or you want to get connected with Urban Yogis, or if you're interested in their next retreat, please reach out to either one of us. We would love to talk with you about it. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of I Love It When. I'm really excited today to introduce you to Kiana from Urban Yogis in downtown Everett. Kiana, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Why don't you start off by just telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
All right. I am from Washington. I'm from Seattle. I lived here my whole life. I grew up in the Stevens area, which I've made my way back to. And I opened a yoga studio about a year and a half ago in downtown Everett. My entire life, I've been pretty focused on fitness and wellness, and I love it for myself, but more so, I love sharing it with others and teaching them and helping them find longevity in their life. I have 2 kids that keep me pretty busy. I have a 9-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. So navigating 2 different ages right now, and um, loving it. They teach me more about myself every day. It is definitely probably the biggest focus in my life is my kids. They just keep me going.
What first brought you to yoga and fitness? Like, why did that become such an essential part of your life?
Yeah, I'd always been focused on fitness, mostly sports related. And I had a few injuries in high school that ended up, I've had 3 shoulder surgeries.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so that definitely has impeded on my life with work and trying to stay active. So I first started doing yoga just to try to find relief, like stretching and mobility. That was my main focus in going. And then I did a hot yoga class and I fell in love. It was like a great workout. You just get kind of like a buzz after,
Hmm.
lots of endorphins, and I really liked that. So I was going for like the workout, the stretch, and then I got deeper into my yoga practice. Just going through a season of life where a lot of family things were going on, just sad things around me that were impacting me pretty heavily, but
Hmm.
also things that were out of my control, which is
Hmm.
hard. Not much I could do to like change or fix the situation, but definitely in the situations. So that's when I really connected with yoga, and the other side, not just the working out portion of it,
Hmm.
but the portion where I was finding myself there more and more because I needed to quiet my mind. So I started really tuning into all those things that the teachers say, like this is your hour, this is your practice, you don't need leave your stresses at the door. I was just trying to connect with all the words that they were saying, focus on my breathing. And that is when I really connected with yoga and saw how much it could really change my life. Just having that hour each day um, was really able to calm my anxiety, give me like relief from stress. And then after the class, I'd be able to go back out into life, just feeling like a weight off of my shoulders.
Hmm.
Helped me just connect more spiritually. It really helped me to connect with my own intuition, and just following my own heart.
Hmm.
Um, I think it really taught me to start listening to myself, just kind of quieting all of the noise and tuning into what was really going on. So, yeah. And then after that, I mean, the rest is history. I can't imagine not having it as a daily practice.
Yeah. How much, how long were you doing yoga for about before you decided to open a studio yourself?
Yoga I've done on and off for probably 10 to 12 years.
Hmm.
And then um, pretty seriously over the last like 6 years. And then
Okay.
I had been teaching yoga for just a couple years before opening.
Okay. And what made
Yeah.
you want to open a studio in downtown Everett?
In downtown Everett, because I just think it's a good central location for where I'm at.
Hmm.
Up here, there's a lot of surrounding cities. It's kind of the center. I really like the downtown, and Everett is doing a lot to try to grow that,
Hmm.
to clean it up. And I just am seeing great changes, and it's becoming a place that I want to be again. I don't feel like I have to go all the way to Seattle.
Hmm.
Yeah, to feel like that cityness or like a unique studio. There's some immersive studios in Seattle, but you have to go all the way down there to find something like this. So just bringing
Yeah.
this modern yoga more north was really important to me. So excited about having it in downtown Everett. And then I opened it because I feel like there's a lot of people like me who are just like in studios doing yoga and just focus on that workout. Or there's people who think that yoga is just stretching, and they
Hmm.
don't realize it's so much more than that. So I just wanted to be able to have a place where I could spread it to others, get more people involved, build community, and then just have a place that is we're really focused on being open and welcoming to everyone.
Hmm.
So just cultivating that. I think a lot of times there's a stereotype with yoga. And the most thing I hear often is like, oh, I can't go to yoga, I'm not flexible, which just makes me laugh. And it really truly is the one thing that is, yoga is 100% non-judgment. So
Hmm.
that right there, if you can like really believe and know that, then it just lets a lot of that other stuff go to the side. So I just want to keep sending and sharing that message, and really creating a place that feels welcoming to all bodies, all ages. Um, yeah.
I love that. I think you just kind of described and you went into like what my next question which was, can you share a bit about the mission statement behind Urban Yogis? And that's what I see on your website is really truly the inclusive environment and making sure that people feel
Mhm.
welcome. I love that.
Yeah.
I also love how, because I've been to a handful of yoga studios in my life, when I found hot yoga true, like just what you described about your experience of your first hot yoga class, that was 100% mine. And I thought I was going to hate it. I was like, oh, I am not a yoga princess. What do I think I'm doing? But then I went and I was like, oh my gosh, it took me about 3 classes to get used to the heat. But then my body just responded to it in such a beautiful way. I've played sports my whole life, and this was the first time where I felt like I got a workout that didn't wasn't hurting me. It was really helping me in so many different ways, including the mental, like you talked about. And
Yeah,
so,
that's
but
great.
I got off track. I was like, what I was going to say was your studio. I love that you incorporate light, like different lighting, different sensory experiences with sound. And that is really different from a lot of studios that I've been in. And I love that aspect of it.
Yeah. It's just another layer that really helps to be able to allow your mind to set the stuff to the side and just bring you into the present moment, using the light, the scent, the music. It's very immersive, which is what we are, an immersive studio. But it allows you to really just like tune in to the class, which is amazing. And each different type of light has different benefits. So there's going to be different lighting for different classes, but it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. How did you go about when you were first starting your business, like hiring teachers and getting things set up? How did that part go when you were first opening?
Yeah, I thought that part would be stressful, but it was one of those things where I actually didn't really have to search at all. Um, there was definitely a few teachers that I just knew that they aligned, especially with that like inclusion part
Hmm.
and just their mission and very community oriented people. So I reached out to a few people like pretty immediately, like once everything was set up and we had a timeline. And then other people just fell into my lap. A couple people were just sent our way by like a recommendation once hearing like what we were doing, and this person I think would be perfect for you. Um, so yeah, by the time we started, we had like a pretty great team of 9 teachers. Now we
Wow.
have 12 as we've grown, and yeah, each my favorite thing is when everyone is in the room together, which isn't very often, but we try to have everyone together every few months. And I love just looking around the room because even though we don't see each other very much, it's a definite, like, we call ourselves like UI family. And it's just, it is. It's such a great group of people, but when I look at them individually, everyone is actually so different and they teach yoga different. They have such like vast range of personalities, but somehow it's so cohesive as well. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a great
That's
group
beautiful.
of teachers. Yeah.
Can you describe some of the different types of classes that you offer?
Sure. Yeah. We have a modern flow, which is a modern flow is going to be like a little bit of a faster paced class. The teacher is going to come up with whatever flow they feel like doing for the day. But it's going to be, you're going to expect a little more play, a little more of a workout. And then we have our urban flow, which is like a slow flow. So you're going to be going through your vinyasas, chaturangas, and but it's going to be at a slower pace. Same, it's a flow, so the teacher's going to be coming up with their flow for the day. So the classes will always change, but that's a little bit slower. And then we have yin and stretch lab, which are going to be stretching classes. So stretch lab, you're going to go through like full body stretch at like a medium to slow pace. A yin class is a very restorative class where you're going to definitely not be sweating. You're going to be in each posture like 3 to 5 minutes. This is actually one of my favorite classes. Um, and you just gently go into the posture. So you find that place where you're just feeling a little bit of a stretch before it's uncomfortable. But then with holding that posture for the 3 to 5 minutes, gravity and time allows the body to open up. So you're able to get a nice deep stretch without any injury, without
Mhm.
feeling an agony while you're going through the class. And then you're pretty guaranteed to fall asleep or maybe close to it by the end. It's very relaxing. And usually that class is like ended with a meditation or something along those lines with a very restorative class. And then my favorite class to teach and take is Hatha. Um, Hatha Worldwide is fairly similar. We base it off of 26 postures. It does vary a little bit, but you're gonna pretty much expect the same thing each class for the most part. It has a great like standing balancing series where you're working on like full body engagement and lots of fun balancing poses, and then it ends with some spine strengthening, core work, and a stretch. And that one is on the hotter side, but definitely it's a fun class. Yeah.
Okay. What do you recommend for someone who has maybe never done yoga before? What type of class would be best to start with?
Yeah, if you've never tried yoga, I highly recommend taking Urban Flow just because you're going to feel like when you think of yoga, that's probably what you're going to get with an Urban Flow. You're going to go
Okay.
through some of those main postures, definitely, but you're going to be going at a pace that's doable. Um, so that's a great one to try. And then the Stretch Lab or Yin classes as well. And then Hatha's really awesome because it's typically the same postures, it's a great gauge of how you're doing or how you're progressing. Because one week we might tell you to lift your knee and maybe grab underneath your foot, but you can't. But then one week, all of a sudden, you grabbed underneath your foot. And then a few weeks later, you extend your leg. And it's nice to just be able to see that progress.
Hmm.
But all of our classes are welcoming to all bodies wherever they're at. So teachers are going to adapt to who's in the class and offer modifications. So it really is one of those where you can just try the classes and listen to what the teachers say when they say that this is your practice or come down to your mat when you need a break. Just letting ego go to the side and really allowing each class to be yours. We're there as facilitators to guide your practice, but it is your practice. So if you want to take a nap under the blue light the entire time, have at it. It actually makes me happy when I see people do that,
Mm.
because I know how hard that can be to just feel
Yes.
to sometimes feel like you need to do what everyone else is doing and
Oh,
not take the
100%.
break.
Yeah.
But when you do, and if you're okay with it, it feels even better. So when people go down to the mat and take their breaks or rest, I am all about it. Like, please do make it your hour because it's just going to feel that much better if you listen to your body.
Yeah. I love how you connect that back to what you said in the beginning about how yoga helped you really begin to listen to yourself and listen to your own intuition and your own heart. Because, like you said, when you start listening to what the teachers are saying and you really take it as your own practice, you start to actually connect with your body more, which is so cool. Such a good
Hmm.
feeling. I also love that you guys offer, I don't know if this is just a brand new offering, but that connection time once a month to just come and connect and meet new people.
Yeah, we call it a yoga circle and it's just connection. You don't have to be a studio member, but it's a great place to come connect with some of the teachers, connect with some of the people that practice there, and just get to know your community and hopefully build some friendships out of it or connection. Yeah, it's really great. I love that we do that, and it's fun to see who shows up and just get that extra time to converse. A lot of times we're just busy and we come to class, we leave class. So
Hmm.
just having that off the mat time to connect with each other is great.
Hmm. And then you guys also you do retreats for not just members but anybody who wants to join on an experience like both inside and outside the country.
Yeah. So we have a retreat. Typically, it will be every 3 months. Some are in the Pacific Northwest, some are a little bit longer retreats, and we'll travel. I retreats is my real passion in yoga. And it's because when people take the time to just step away from their busy life
Hmm.
and leave their to-dos at home actually. So there's no dishes to do, no kids to chase, no work email to answer to. It's amazing how much reflection and growth can take place.
Hmm.
Um, we just live in such a fast-paced world, and the mind is go, 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 go. A lot of times, even when we do pause, take a yoga class, when the class is over, we're right back to it. And having the weekend or week to really just be with yourself and be
Yeah.
with others that are trying to um, grow or just find some release is pretty incredible. So I love getting to facilitate those and just watch people's journeys throughout the week as their
Hmm.
guards come down and as they come to their own realizations. It's pretty amazing. So different retreats have different purposes, but they're all of them you're going to come home feeling relaxed, refreshed, and yeah, yeah.
It's the best feeling. I love what you
Yes.
said when you recently got back from a retreat in Guatemala that you helped lead, right? You said there were only a few different kinds of journal prompts that you gave them, but to see the people respond and react in such a fabulous way to just a few simple journal prompts reminded me of exactly the same reason why I love retreats too, is because I think we overcomplicate things so much as humans. We just overcomplicate everything. And so to come back to something simple just is a reminder that it doesn't take much to experience more peace, but you have to be willing to go there and stop at those to dos and put things aside. So I love that you do
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit more about your intuition? I love talking to people about their intuition on my podcast, and I think everybody always defines it differently, which I love because how you share what intuition is to you is going to communicate to someone completely different than how I will. So we reach different audiences when we do that. So how do you describe your intuition, and like how did yoga help you to be able to connect with it more?
I describe intuition as also like as my inner voice.
Hmm.
Um, that or the feeling in my stomach. That is my intuition. Um, I feel like yoga really taught me to connect with my intuition by teaching me to quiet my mind. Um, I almost think of my intuition as one of my little voices in my head. I feel like we all have two. We have the one that's like, you can do this, you got this, gives you the ideas. And then there's the self talk one, self doubt voice that
Yeah.
sometimes tries to talk you out of things or give you worry. Um, and I think most of us are also attached to humans, whether they're friends or social media. But most of us have some sort of an attachment to someone that we want to please or
Hmm.
we want acceptance. So for me, like intuition is, I think that we all can connect with it. Like if you really just even close your eyes for a moment, whatever that feeling is, that with whatever the situation is, if you just connect with the feeling, um, I think that that's your intuition. Like you
Hmm.
know what it is. So there's, gosh, what do you know the book? Oh man, I'm trying to think.
Good
I think
book.
it was Girl Wash Your Face, or there was a second one.
Oh,
Have you
okay.
read Girl?
I haven't read that, but I
Girl
know
Dreams?
I know who you're talking about. I'm blanking on the
Um,
author's name.
I'm blanking on her name, but she described once, if you just close your eyes and you tune in to whatever the feeling is, and then ask yourself if that feeling makes you feel warm or if it
Hmm.
makes you feel cold, and you know what to do. That's pretty much how I think of my intuition with everything now. That extra voice is sometimes they're trying to talk me out of things, but if I decide to connect with my intuition, which for me is just pausing, usually closing my eyes and attaching myself to the feeling, like what am I feeling? I know my gut answer. I know my heart. That's what my intuition is. And then I get to decide what to do with it. I get to either follow that or I get to make decisions based off what I think other people will want.
Yeah.
And the more that I follow my own intuition, the more happiness I found, the more I'm able to find peace. Um, and it's getting easier and easier because at the end of the day, your intuition is usually right.
Yeah.
So the more that I trust myself, I feel like the more, yeah, more I'm able to like navigate smoothly through life and on
Hmm.
my own terms, which just feels amazing. The
Hmm.
better I get at it, the more I'm like, how many years did I spend just second
Yes.
guessing myself and trying to
Yeah.
people please?
Hmm.
And it's like the more that I'm me, the more the right people are finding me, and the more that I'm like settling into my like life, my true self, and
I
yeah,
love that.
that was a long answer
No, that's
for
beautiful. That's
intuition.
perfect. That's perfect. My that leads kind of into my next question was, do you have an example of a time when you followed your intuition that you can remember that you distinctly had to like check in with yourself and go?
Yeah, I think even opening the yoga studio,
Hmm.
I um gosh, when when it started, I was just under a year of actually teaching, um actually being a yoga teacher. So there I wouldn't say anyone was purposefully negative towards me about opening a studio, but more so putting probably their own self doubts onto me.
Hmm.
So, like things like, oh, have you even taught yoga long enough to own a studio? And then I'm like, oh, have I taught long enough to own a studio? And I feel like that. But I definitely had to like talk myself into it a couple of times and just opening a business is rarely a smooth process.
Hmm.
But I definitely have went through times of self-doubt and can I do this? Should I be doing this? Am I capable enough of doing this? But
Hmm.
no, like without those comments, and again, like if I tune into myself, like why am I doing it? Can I open a place for people to come feel safe and connect with other people? Like, yeah, I am absolutely capable of that. That's 100% what I should be doing. That has nothing to do with how long I've actually taught yoga.
Hmm.
Um, so I am proud of myself for doing that, for following my intuition, because I do think that we ended up right in the perfect place. I think we ended up in a community that needs this.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of repair to do in Everett, and I think it's a bright time for Everett. And I think just the world in general over the last 4 years, everybody knows it's just been different.
Hmm.
And I think all of us have had opportunities to really think about life, what it's about, what we want out of it. And I think a lot of people are ready to take their health into their own hands, commit to wellness. So I'm excited to be able to help grow that part of the community. And yeah, again, the more I keep just talking myself into things and keeping that outside noise away, the better stuff gets.
Hey, I'm popping in for a moment to let you know that if you're interested in working with me one on one in a small group, or you'd like to attend one of my upcoming retreats, please reach out or add yourself to my email list. You can go to iloveitwhen.org and scroll to the bottom where you'll see there's a spot to sign up. I also love to speak, teach, and create experiences for small, medium, or large size companies. If you know someone that I should know, please connect us. I'm looking to utilize I Love It When to create global change, and that will require collaborating with all of you. You're all so much more powerful than you realize. Remind yourself of that today. What would you recommend for someone who would just is just starting to try and listen to their intuition? What are like 2 or 3 tips that you give someone who's just beginning?
I would say before even deciding to follow your intuition, decide with yourself that you're okay with following your intuition. So
Mm.
that way, when you do follow your intuition, maybe something doesn't pan out, but know that you're okay with that. It's not always going to go perfectly. And so be okay that you may have to give yourself some forgiveness for whatever happened.
I like
Um,
that.
but yeah, first setting that, and then when you are ready to, I really use the tip like closing the eyes. It's kind of brings you back to that senses, like turn off some of the senses, try to tune into yourself. Um, Bringing your awareness to your third eye. So like closing your eyes and then just with your eyes closed, looking at that space between the eyebrows. Um, that helps connect you with your intuition, with your center, and then just listening to the feelings. And what other tips? I think if you're really new to it and you've had trouble following your own voice in the past, I think writing it down. So,
Mm.
um, like tune into that intuition, whatever it is, if it's a decision, if just say it's a decision, then whatever you know is best, like you really know it. So accept it, whatever that is,
Yeah.
accept it and then write it out, lock it in. So it's there for you. That way, when or if that other voice comes in, or there's any negative self-talk or outer talk from others, that you have kind of already really like locked that down
Hmm.
and commit to it. I'm all about like pre-committing to myself.
I really like that.
So,
Nobody's ever said that before as a suggestion, and I think it's really beautiful because I've realized too the power of words spoken out loud and written down. And so I will often say to myself, I'm going to give myself permission to follow my intuition today, no matter what the outcome. And so I think you're right. I think it's almost like giving ourselves that permission before you even set an intention or try to connect to your intuition. It's giving yourself that permission to just play with it. It's really
mhm.
powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Okay, cool. Um, Totally a random question, but I really felt like throwing it in there. Is what do you wish more people knew about you?
This is really going to be a funny answer.
Perfect.
Especially because it's a podcast, so you can't see my face.
Oh, they can see your face on YouTube though.
Okay. Well, I am surprisingly like painfully shy, and sometimes I have one of those resting faces. So I would I wish if everyone just like knew that I was nice and welcoming. But I think that's probably one of the things that like I've heard the most. Like I was so scared to talk to you or nervous to talk to you. And then like I didn't know you would be so nice. And it's just like surprising because like I'm pretty nice.
Oh
um
yeah, I would say you're very approachable.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if everyone just knew that, and then everyone would approach me even easier.
I love that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's, you know,
I
and I
don't know
told you
what
this
else.
before, one of the last times we talked. You have a very powerful energy, and it feels very grounded and it's very strong. And I think sometimes people can mistake that for, or feel intimidated by that. Like they might feel intimidated by that, even though you're not intending to intimidate anyone. Uh, so I know what you mean, though. I've gotten similar feedback myself. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. For somebody who's listening, who's interested in membership, what does membership look like for Urban Yogis? What do you guys
Yeah,
offer?
we offer, you can drop in, you can just come in anytime and just pay for a single class, or we have class packs. The most affordable way to do it is an auto pay system. So just like a monthly membership, and that gives you
Okay.
unlimited classes. I like committing to monthly passes myself, because I feel like it keeps me a little bit more accountable. So
Hmm.
if you're really wanting to bring yoga into your practice and you're planning on adding it in at a minimum of once a week, then um, the price is going to reflect that and serve you best. So definitely go that route. For me, when I have my like monthly membership, it gets me to come in every month, even when December hits and there's shopping to do and wrapping to do and feeding people and all the extra things. Um, I've paid my membership, so I'm committed and I'm going to go. And it kind of helps me to stay on track. But we try to have options that work for anybody. So if you're far and you just want to come in every once in a while, great. If you want to make it a regular thing, then there's an option for you. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. And then do you have your next retreat, like date or location planned yet?
We have not set out the dates, but it will be coming out soon. And
Okay.
our next destination will be a Bali yoga retreat. It'll be 8 to 10 days with traveling, and that is going to be early October.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna
Yeah,
mark that one on my calendar.
stay tuned.
Can people just watch your Instagram? Is that the best way to find out about it, or do you have an email list or something?
Yeah, so Instagram is the best way, but we definitely send out emails as well. So you can
Okay.
subscribe by email through our website, or if you follow on Instagram, we're pretty good at keeping all of like the upcoming workshops and retreats and all of that information on
Mm-hmm.
there. And then you can message on there as well, or through the website. If you're not as social on social media, the website works also.
Okay. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I love to end each episode with what is your current I love it when for the world or for yourself right now?
For the world, right now I love it when I see random acts of kindness. That
Mm-hmm.
is, I think it's just like a reminder that there's like goodness in the world. It makes my heart immediately happy. And just always brings me like some gratitude. So that's what I love seeing right now.
I love that. I agree completely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to share with us and share a bit of who you are and your story and what you're doing. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me again. It was
Yeah.
great.